When I was younger, back in high school, middle school, college, I liked gangsters. I was into gangsters. I liked guys. That was who I was attracted to. Thugs. I liked guys. I liked shotters. You know, Rasta gangsters. Um, there's this saying, why do good girls like bad boys? I was a good girl who always had an affinity to bad boys. I like bad boys. But as I grew older and got more mature, I understood that sometimes bad boys do bad things. And I think what I was after was more the masculinity, the alpha masculinity, which at the time, in my underdeveloped understanding, I interpreted gangsters as alpha males, right? So I still like gangster music, but I don't listen to it. I'm playing the song "Shine" by Shine. It was one of my songs that I really liked. And in the song, he says, you know, basically, like a lot of these rappers are actors, and your guns don't go off until they say lights, camera, action. And I was thinking about alpha masculinity. I'm not sure if really that's a term. I think if it's a term, then it's out there, but this is the first time I really thought of this term alpha masculinity and how maybe there is an attack on alpha masculinity, right? But if we're in a time where you're free to be who you want to be, free to say what you want and things like that, then there shouldn't be restrictions placed on somebody, a man who is very masculine. However, in my adulthood, I've come to define masculinity as different things. What is an alpha male? Who is an alpha male? An alpha male to me is a man who's on top of his game and who's his own boss. That's what turns me on. Now it's not the thug or the gangster, but it's a man who is intellectually astute, a nerd, quote unquote, can be an alpha male because he's intellectually astute. I like a man that can teach me a thing or two. Personally, the man that I'm in love with is, as hard as it is for me to admit, by far more intelligent than I am. He's on top of his game in more categories than I'm on top of my game. And I started reflecting as an artist about music and how there's been such a shift in music and such a shift in what we knew as far as hip hop. And I'm a hip hop head. I'm very, very learned in hip hop. I know about old school hip hop. I know about, somewhat a little bit about contemporary rap or whatever. And I noticed that there was a pinpoint, there was a shift in music in my lifetime because back in the day, Biggie represented alpha masculinity in hip hop. Pac represented alpha masculinity in hip hop. And even though they were gangsters, Shine, they were gangsters, they represented a certain element or a tentacle of alpha masculinity. Nas represented alpha masculinity. Jay-Z represented alpha masculinity. And they may have been talking about selling drugs and things like that that may not be the most constructive, but they represented a tentacle of alpha masculinity. KRS-One, Arrested Development, definitely Public Enemy represented alpha masculinity, not toxic masculinity, alpha masculinity. The idea of I'm a man, I have something to say, and I'm going to say it fearlessly. Like I can't be bought type thing is alpha masculinity to me. And I started thinking, when was the shift in alpha masculinity? I know 50, I bought Got Rich or Die Trying, and I loved um, when I went to go see G Unit back in high school, back in the day. I loved the show that they put on. And DMX, was one of my favorite rappers back in the day. Another alpha masculine, um, you know, individual. And I started thinking, when did the shift take place? And I started thinking maybe it was around the time where 50 and Ja Rule began to have their rival, and that, you know, 50 kind of represented a more alpha masculine man, like male figure, and Ja Rule was like singing in the songs and whatnot, and he was kind of ushering in like a less alpha masculine type hip hop or rap. And then it was just kind of just went all, you know, I'm not gonna say downhill from there, but we started seeing less of that alpha male type archetype in hip hop. And I think that it was deliberate, personally, in analyzing it. I think that there is a deliberate attack on the alpha male. Why? Because the alpha male is the kind of guy that we all want. The different forms of him. He's the boss. He's the one who, you know, like a Damon Dash, like he doesn't take any shit. He doesn't answer to anybody. He can't be bought. He doesn't have a corporate master. He's not, you know, he's not on any strings of like a puppet master. Like there's no way that he's going to be doing things out here in these streets to that look ridiculous. He's not going to be the Pied Piper of music, or like he's going to do what he wants. He's going to say what he wants because he doesn't answer to anybody. That's the kind of man that just makes us like, it's very attractive to us as women. A man that just is free to be himself, say what he wants. He hasn't taken an oath of silence because he understands that that oath is against his every fiber of masculinity. Part of his alpha masculinity is the ability to express himself. Nobody's controlling his mouth. Why do we love that kind of man? Why is that so attractive to us? That's the kind of man that we can trust around our children. That's the kind of man that we know we can trust, period. We can trust him. He's not looking for a way to exploit us. No, the alpha male is secure within his masculinity, so he doesn't look at a woman as a threat. Also to the point where he sees a woman as his partner, as his equal. Yes, maybe he can teach her a thing or two, but he doesn't have to feel like he has to flex his masculinity to control her, to dominate her, because he's secure within his manhood. Alpha men are usually well endowed. They're usually capable of pleasing us physically. I don't want to get too crass, but ladies know what I mean. Multiples. You think that that man is not a threat to somebody who's not capable of doing those things? Of course he is. They're very jealous of alpha males. They're very, very jealous. They're very jealous of a man who's got his act together. They're very jealous of a confident man. They're jealous if they can't control you, if they can't buy you, if they can't control your mouth. A Tahuti Ma'atra, that's a threat to them. This man is an alpha male. He can't be outthought. He's too intelligent. And then it's just, you ask, like, why? You know, if you guys are so confident, then why are there so many of you? That's my main question. Like, why are there so many of you if you're so confident? Why would it be so many people against one person, you know? I'm not going to speak on this video that everybody's talking about because it's just the epitome of ridiculous in every way, shape, or form. Is just absolutely absurd. And it's just a display of where we're at right now as far as how these people can be bought. You know, it's disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, it's not everything is for sale. It shouldn't be, at least. But according to them, it is. And there's nothing attractive about it. And they will pay the price for this. And I formerly read this article. I'm going to go ahead and reread this article because I edited it. And I'm hoping to maybe have it published at some point. But This is about karma across faiths. So right now we're kind of looking at a lot of different things unfold, and the repercussions of this lack of morality. We're watching this happen. Like, understand that the masterminds of this whole plan are also like feeling the repercussions of they're reaping what they sowed. So what do I mean by that? What you put out into the earth is going to return back to you. So if you are putting out into the earth deceit and trickery and values that you know are going to lead people astray, how in your right mind, which these people aren't, they're sick, literally, they're mentally sick, would you assume that that's not going to come back to haunt you? I don't fear much because I'm right with the Most High. And that's the only thing. That's pretty much what, like, my main priority. As long as I'm right with the Most High, as long as I'm right with my Creator, what is there to be scared of? I don't do things that undermine people. I don't do things that I would, feel guilty about or lose sleep over. And right now, we're watching this whole thing unfold. So when they get desperate and they have a pop star like this individual do a video like what's out there, this is their desperation. This is their last attempt to try to collect as many souls as possible. And you get these idiots. And don't get me wrong, some of these idiots are very young, but if they understood the repercussions of the things that they're doing, it's like, not only do you want to sell your soul, but you want to collect as many souls as possible to go along with you. And the thing that's so bothersome, like I was referring to that Shine song when he says you don't get gangster until they say lights, camera, action, is if you really knew these people, if you really knew their lives, you would not want anything that they have. You wouldn't want to be anything like them. These people don't even want to live. Half these people wake up, most of these people wake up suicidal. They don't even want to live their lives. And you'll see them in the videos making it seem like it's fun, but when they go home, they feel like taking themselves out. That's why they have to always be high on prescription pills, even marijuana, always drunk. These people are addicts. The only difference between them and the crackhead on the street is the fact that they have money. And it's not to condescend people with addiction. Addiction is a real problem, but why do you want to escape from life so much? That says something to me. When you fear being sober, what does that mean? What does that say? Why do you want to escape your reality? Your reality should be something that's enjoyable. You should be grateful about this life that you've been given. It's a beautiful life. The Creator gave us so much. Why are you always high? Why every morning are you popping an antidepressant, some kind of pill? Why are you out of your mind? There's a reason for that, because you reap what you sow. This is karma. And so this guy is really a vampire, in my opinion. He's a Pied Piper vampire, and he's trying to lead the youth astray. And I don't respect anything about it. I'm not a go along to get along and pretend like that's okay. I am a proponent of free will. So it is absolutely his life to decide to do what he wants with it. But it's absolutely my right to say that I don't respect it. And people get mad because I didn't take an oath of silence, and I never would. That's part of what I'm here to do. I'm free. I'm free to talk. I'm free to express myself. I'm free to say what I want. I'm not controlled by a corporate master. I posted a video saying it's not our game. It's really not our game. When you study some of these, secret organizations like the Illuminati and things like that, you will find out that it's rooted in white supremacy. And it's not like people are so, of course there is a sickness of white supremacy. Of course there's people who are very, very committed to this, their preservation. And they look at melanated people as a threat to their existence. So there's an element of that. But really, it comes down to money. These secret societies are about money. They're about survival, and they're about money. And the system, the way it's been set up, is that there's just got to be an underdog. There's got to be a group of people who are the underdog. And so, no, these secret societies are not willy-nilly like looking to recruit Black people. The only time that they really want Black people in is if they can bring Black people down. So you can pretty much apply that. Like if they're Black and in the Illuminati, their assignment is to bring other Black people down. Point blank. Because really it's a racist organization, because Black people are supposed to be the consumers. Black people are supposed to be the underdogs in order for this whole thing to work. So this oath of silence, something that I would never take. Illuminati is something I would never join. I'm way too bold for that. I'm way too free-spirited for that. I'm just way too me for that. And frankly, I don't think it's cool. You're over here parading around, like these people are parading around and they're so bold in their wickedness, but they're quiet. They're quiet when it comes to when they go around their corporate masters. And that's what I don't respect. Like you got so much to say about putting other people down, or you're so bold in, your flaunting of your lust, your flaunting of your money. You're so bold in that. But when it comes to social issues, you're quiet. When it comes to the people who pay your bills, pay for your lifestyle, you can't man up, you can't woman up. You know who to fuck with and you know who not to. You know who to piss off and you know who not to. And I can't respect that because you can't speak freely. And so I can't respect you as a bold person, which is a quality that I very much admire. Someone who's bold, but I can't respect that because you have a corporate master, because you're being told what to do. You're not an independent thinker. Because something could be so heavy on your heart that you want to say and you want to speak out on, but you're not allowed to. And whose fault is that? That's your fault. So bottom line is, what people don't understand is this whole thing's falling apart as we know it. Like everything that we think we know is about to change. We're on the brink of a shift of power. We're on the brink of the disintegration of an economy that we've known. Like everything is about to fall. Like literally, like Babylon is going to fall. And they've been saying this for a long time, and people have been like, yeah, that's just some crazy church talk or whatever. But look around. The times that we're in, is this something familiar to you? This is some weird shit going on. You go outside, everybody's in masks. We are on a global quarantine. That doesn't that doesn't make you like, something is not ordinary here. What are we on the brink of? What's about to unfold? And I'll tell you this much, it is not the time to be on the wrong side, and they know it. This is absolute and utter desperation that we see unfolding. They are desperate. They are very, very desperate. Why? Because their day is done. Finally. And the underdogs, the ones who didn't get paid off, the ones who didn't take an oath of silence, the ones who didn't sell their souls, the ones who did the right things are the winners. And all of this stuff is about to crumble. And everything that they've put all of their time and attention and their wickedness into is about to shatter. And they know it. So who do they call? The artists. Please, we're desperate. We just need souls at this point. We want everybody to be sleeping at this point. Please help us in that. And that's what's that. That's what's going on. Me, I have no worries. I didn't sell my soul. I didn't take an oath of silence. I endured the suffering and the name calling and the poverty and all the things that I've had to endure. But the trade-off was me being able to say anything that I wanted to say. Me being happy, me not being a drug addict, me waking up, praying in the morning, feeling invigorated, thanking the Most High for the day, me being in love, real love, not the love that can be bought, me not selling my body, me not selling my soul. That's the trade-off. And I said, you know what? I knew that this was going to be what the result of this was. I made the right choice, and I don't regret it. But they do, because they know that their day is done. And to the believers, a lot of the believers are like, look, get the shish kebabs, get the s'mores while Babylon falls down. So I wrote this article, and it's basically about karma across faiths. And you guys might have heard the beginning of this. I posted this a long time ago, well, probably about a month or two ago, about karma, but I added some, and I'm basically talking about our criminal justice system. To me, it's very peculiar. Well, really, it's a testament to the world that we live in, to the society that we're a part of, that they could actually be paying people, paying CIA, paying FBI, paying law enforcement to frivolously surveil poor people, to watch poor people, when they know that that majority of the criminal activity that these poor people are engaged in, if they are, is because they're poor. But you would rather pay somebody to watch poor people than to give the poor people the money to be able to get themselves out of the rut or the situation that they're in. That is so messed up. And don't think for 1 minute that just because it's your job that you won't reap the karma of what you do. Trust and believe. Your day is done. You're finished. There are several ways to dissect karma. There are several definitions of karma as well. The word karma derives from the Eastern traditions of Hinduism and Buddhism. It directly translates as deeds, but more specifically, it's related to the spiritual law of cause and effect. This offers a stark contrast to the typical Western view of karma. In the West, karma is more or less seen as something haunting, almost carries a negative stigma. Often when you see something bad happen to somebody, you may hear another person say that's karma. Karma is neither bad nor good. It's simply a direct response. The law of cause and effect is that anything that you put out into the universe is going to be returned back to you. And this makes absolute sense to me because I believe in true justice. The idea of escaping or tricking your fate is nonsensical. What is debatable are the concepts of predetermination and predestination. There's a song by Alanis Morissette called All I Really Want. And in Alanis' song, it's directly influenced by principles of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Eastern philosophy. Her lyrics say something to the effect of who hunts the hunter or who kills the killer. The idea is if you kill the killer, you're a killer too. And who would feel that they could interfere with someone's fate? Isn't that almost blasphemous? Like, wouldn't you almost be trying to play God? And you don't know what the creator has in store for that person. You know, you're ignorant to their destiny. You're ignorant to what they're going to become. You're ignorant to the fact that if they're even redeemable. I don't believe that everybody is redeemable, but there are some people that are lost that will be found. The part that's the most confusing about karma is the fact that our creator does work through people. So the very fact that it happened meant that it was meant to happen, or else it wouldn't have happened. So I try my best, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, to live and let live. I don't have the full story of anyone's life, so the notion of karma is kind of sacred to me. I don't find anything really more important than being in favor with the Most High. That's the whole game, in my opinion. The way that I dissect this whole game of life is, okay, you lose if you sell your soul, because your soul is the most important thing that you have. So if you have all the money in the world, all the popularity in the world, but you're soulless, you lost the overall game. You lost. You're the loser. And I don't fear it much, but I am petrified of the consequences of not being in the Most High's favor. I acknowledge that I have a limited understanding of other people and the details of their life. I don't feel equipped with my lack of understanding to really make decisions like that on other people's lives. And it's a big job. And luckily, I don't have to do it. I let the Most High do his work. So in my belief, it is directed that we don't interfere because we know that our Creator is the omnipotent and the omnipresent. And this is really key. Understanding omnipotence and understanding omnipresence means that the Creator is everywhere. Right now, while I'm speaking, while I'm making this video, my Creator is here in this building that I live in with my neighbors and people down the street. The Creator is there. He's everywhere. He's seeing everything. He's hearing everything. He knows everything down to our thoughts before we think them. This stuff is powerful. It's deep. And so when we talk about this idea of injustice, it's like, well, how? Because it's either now or later. Your consequence is either going to come now or later, or both. There's no getting around it when you're dealing with an omnipotent and omnipresent force. There's no whispering. There's no saying things silently. There's no schemes. There's no plots. There's no secret operatives, CIA, FBI. None of that. It's like you're whispering. But God's like right there, like listening to everything. You can say it very, very quietly. And he still hears it all. Which also means that he knows the exact measurement and degree to relinquish his consequences. Because if he knows everything, then he knows the state of mind, he knows the condition, he knows every feeling, he knows the intent, right? Because a lot of times people will try and get around that, the intent. Well, we didn't mean any harm. No, we know if you did. God knows if you did or didn't mean any harm. Like there's no trickery involved. There's no deceit involved. You can't outthink our Creator. You can't outsmart our Creator. You can't outwit our Creator. You can't outperform our Creator. And so man can be too lenient or too extreme. And of course, we know with the isms and the schisms that man is mixing in biases and prejudices and their own issues before executing consequences. And we see this as a very blatant display of the injustice in our criminal justice system. Constantly giving unfair sentences to people who fit within certain demographics or people who are within a certain income bracket. While others can literally be murderers, criminals, and it appears that they get away with murder. They never get away with anything, but it appears with our criminal justice system, they get away with a lot. They think that they're above the law. They're not held to the same standards of poor people. And often being the worst criminals and really having no legal repercussions. This is why our criminal justice system is so flawed, it's unfair, and it has failed specifically poor people. However, the Almighty, unlike the elite, unlike the judges and everybody who is a part of the criminal justice system, the Almighty cannot be bought. The courts can be bought. The Almighty, the judge, the Creator, cannot be bought. There's no boys club of the Creator. There's no favoritism. Well, there's favoritism. I'm one of the favorites. I'm a chosen one, I admit. But the favoritism is not predicated upon your race, your sex, your gender. None of that. The favoritism is predicated upon your obedience, your submission, and your propensity to do the right thing and be of service to mankind. The people who are of the most service to mankind are the favorites. That's who the Almighty is most pleased with. The ones who care for the children, the ones who speak the truth, the ones who awaken people, the ones who use their intellectualism to empower people. Those are his favorites. And there's nothing, look, call me the teacher's pet when it comes to my Creator. And the Almighty is not biased. He doesn't hide evidence. His justice system is unflawed. And for this reason, I can't worry, and I don't worry about people who exemplify extreme cruelty, because they're already suffering the consequences of their actions. And some people lose sleep over the notion that things appear to be so unjust, but there's really no such thing. Karma is inevitable, it's not escapable. And so, for this reason, I don't worry about any of this stuff. And Russell Simmons has written some books that I really enjoyed, and he highlights the importance of one's occupation. He makes the point that even if it is your profession, you're not exempt from karma, and I couldn't agree more. You know, there are people that are paid assassins, paid hitmen. There are people that are paid for capturing children for the purposes of sex trafficking. There are people that are paid to, put people under some sort of like military hypnosis. Like there's people that are paid to drop bombs on, civilians and get kids' limbs blown off in the name of war. That's a job. There's people that build bombs. That's a job. They're getting paid to do those things. You think that there's just because a check is attached to it that you're not going to receive the karma of your actions? You're out of your mind. So Russell stresses to make sure that whatever you are getting paid to do, don't let it contribute to the suffering of other people. I had the opportunity, I've read the Quran, I've read some of the Bible, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've never read the Torah in its entirety, but I studied Buddhism when I moved to Southern California, and I was going to actual classes and learning about Buddhism from Buddhist practitioners and teachers and things of that nature. And I was surprised that so many people in the faith believe that an individual could actually be a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jewish Buddhist. What fascinated me the most about Buddhist philosophy, of their philosophy of karma, is it didn't really truly conflict with any of the three monotheistic religions, because each religion kind of had their own definition of karma or how it plays out, but the law of cause and effect seemed like it was a commonality between all the faiths. And the more that I got to learn about the practice of Buddhism, I agreed with that. The Bible and the Quran both discuss in depth the law of cause and effect. So in Islamic tradition, the Quran specifically states that those who disobey Allah will receive severe punishment within this life and in the hereafter. While in Christianity, the belief of heaven and hell is their way of explaining cause and effect or karma. However, in Hinduism, the practitioners believe in multiple deities. Each deity oversees a specific category of life. The Bhagavad Gita instructs Hindus to live in accordance with obtaining and maintaining a healthy karma, including a vegetarian diet, as the belief is that one could come back reincarnated as an animal. Essentially, if you're eating cruelty, you may be subjected to that identical cruelty in the next life. Buddhists believe that the chanting of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo helps to chip away at one's karmic debt. Muslims and Christians believe that prayer does the same thing. So in both faiths, the believers believe that God can clear your karmic debt by acknowledging your sin and repenting. However, there are some distinctions in Christianity and Islam when it comes to clearing your karmic debt. Christians believe that you can constantly ask for forgiveness while committing the same sin. Muslims believe that you should be asking for forgiveness with the pure intent of never committing that sin again. Like I said, there's really no tricking God. He understands that we grapple with certain things, and there are certain things that have a strong hold on us. But really, the idea of repentance and asking for forgiveness should be with the pure heart that you're not going to be doing the same thing over and over again. It seems as if in the West, those who are deeply religious or spiritual are made fun of. And there's more of an emphasis placed on intellectualism and physical appearance. However, I would go ahead and make the argument that the highly intellectuals are the most spiritual. The denial of karma's existence does not make the law of cause and effect not applicable to the person that does not believe in them or does not believe in it. Why do I say that spiritual people are the most intellectual, are the smartest? are the best. Well, if the whole game is your soul, there's nothing else but your soul. And so spiritual people understand that the whole game is your soul. So there's nothing more important than having your soul intact. Whereas others think the game is about money, they think the game may be about popularity, the game is about physical. They don't even know, they're so lost that they think the game is they think winning is other things. So to me, that's not smart. That's not intelligent. Because you don't even know what the win is. You don't even know what the victory is. And regardless of the denial of whether you believe in karma or an afterlife or anything like that, you will still be held accountable for your actions. So it seems unintelligent to knowingly do cruel things to people. It seems like absolute ignorance, because whatever you do to someone, you do to yourself. And maybe some people are gluttons for pain and suffering, so they, exert more pain and suffering on others. However, we have to also take into consideration the days of darkness. And I'm a testament to that. I wasn't always the person that I am. I wasn't always the woman that I am. And what do you do? Like I said, when it comes to forgiveness and repentance, we shouldn't be walking around with a dark cloud over our head if we've done things formerly that were not pleasing to our Creator. What we should do is sincerely repent, ask for forgiveness, and make a vow to not do those things anymore and keep it moving and stay committed to that vow. Stay committed to that. One of the primary differences between monotheism and polytheism, or at least Hinduism, is the monotheists believe in only one life. Polytheists believe in multiple lives. Many Westerners confuse what is legal for what is moral. We can use the topic of abortion as example. It may be legal under state law, but under spiritual law, you may be convicted as guilty for murder of your own child. And I'm not sure what the calculation of the karmic debt is for that. I, again, luckily am not the decider or the judge of someone else's fate. Now, in Islam, heaven is described as an endless euphoria. It is said that you will feel intoxicated without the hangover. It's like a constant party with no sadness, just absolute bliss. And in other faiths, it might be described as nirvana, just the state of absolute bliss. You're not bothered by anything, you're just happy. And it's said that the sense of paradise is the sweetest aroma that one could imagine, and you can eat all day and not gain a pound. In Hadith, it's told that one's physical appearance will be their age of 33. So everybody in heaven will be identical to how they looked at age 33, because it's believed that 33 is your physical prime and your mental prime. It's believed that at 33 you are in your prime. So everybody in paradise will be 33. In Islam, it is described, as the happiest place that one can imagine. Another difference between Islam and Christianity is that in Islam, Jesus is believed to be a holy prophet, whereas according to my understanding, Christians believe that Jesus is an entity of God. They believe in the God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. And the Trinity often kind of confuses Muslims because their interpretation of that is it might flirt with polytheism. This is something that confuses me also. In the holy books, God's described as omnipotent and omnipresent, meaning he's in all things. And the topic is really something that can be discussed really in great depth. And I'm no theologian. I didn't go to a school of divinity or anything like this for this. But this is my interpretation of this. So the notion that Jesus Christ died for one's sins is essentially saying that Jesus cleared the karma of Christians. Muslims believe that everyone is solely responsible for their own fate, and that there is no divine intervention outside of if Allah chooses to guide your life. Ultimately, the belief in Islam is that free will is always at hand and each individual is responsible for their own karmic debt. This holds each individual accountable for their eternal destination. Hinduism is similar in the sense that Hindus believe that what you return, you know, as in your next life is a direct correlation of your karma that you've accrued in your current life. In Hinduism, there is divine intervention as well. It's suggested in Hinduism to give offerings to various gods and goddesses for the purposes of clearing your karmic debt. For example, Goddess Lakshmi is responsible for abundance and prosperity according to their faith. Pleasing her is ideal if you desire material wealth. Hindus do believe in divine intervention. The goddess Kali helps Hindus take out their enemies. So Kali may require sacrifices, but is believed to be of great assistance in both physical and spiritual war. In Christianity, hell is described as a lake of fire or a bottomless pit. Like Muslims, Christians believe that hell is the final destination of sinners in the afterlife. Now, I have heard, and I have to do more research about this, that you can serve your sentence in hell and it would only be for a certain amount of time and then you enter the paradise. Um, and then there's this idea also of hell on earth, where you'll serve your sentence of hell on earth. So in the afterlife, you can enter paradise. And that kind of makes sense to me also, having some suffering here on earth so you don't have to suffer in the afterlife. And the suffering being kind of a clearing of your karmic debt. As far as my interpretation, one primary difference between Christians and Muslims is, this view of karma. Muslims believe that your transgressions will be paid for in both this life and the hereafter. And in Islamic faith, the Quran teaches that all wicked will suffer greatly both on earth and in hell. Islam means peace. So Muslims' greetings of Assalamu alaikum means peace be unto you. I define karma as your emotional state. Your karma is your peace, your happiness, your sense of joy, and your overall fulfillment, or the lack thereof. Your habits and your tendencies are also a direct reflection of your karma. So if you're tied to habits that are to your detriment, there's a direct correlation to your karma, like an addiction or something that you can't escape, or a terrible relationship where it's just you feel miserable all the time, but you're in bondage to another individual, or you're in bondage to lust, you're in bondage to drugs, you're in bondage to alcohol. That's hell on earth. That's karma. And I don't want to be, unkind and say that an example of like an abusive situation, if you are getting your butt kicked by your spouse, but you keep going back to that spouse, you're gravitating towards the things, like you're a magnet to things that destroy you. You gravitate towards things that destroy your self-esteem. You gravitate towards things that are destructive to you. You eat things that are destructive to you. You attract partners that are wounding to you, to your heart, to your soul, that's karma. Now, if you're attracted to habits that are for your ascension, you like people that are kind to you, that are good to you, that are don't exploit you, that want the best for you, that tell you the truth, that help you in every way, help you mentally, financially, and love you. That's karma. To attract a person, a mate that really loves you, that's your good karma. To attract a job situation, a career that allows you to have peace, that's karma. To attract friends that aren't backbiting and talking about you and slandering your name or trying to set you up, or that's karma. And so we may be familiar with the saying, no rest for the wicked. Rest is important. Look, I like my sleep. Your slumber is your rejuvenation process. That 6 to 8 to 10, however many hours of sleep you're getting, that's your rejuvenation process. That's the time for everything to be regenerating, your cells, and you're not eating while you're sleeping, your digestive system, everything. Your brain is at rest. I mean, your dreams, you may be thinking of things, but your body is resting. That's the period of time that you need so you can have the energy when you wake up to be purposeful and productive, to think sharp. There's Sleep is essential. And it exists for a reason. And so when they say no rest for the wicked's inability to sleep is a direct reflection of their karma. The extent of their frenzy and paranoia is also a direct reflection of their karma. They're too scared to sleep. They're troubled by their transgressions and their guilty conscience. They're fearful of being discovered for who they really are. To believers, that's hell on earth. Like, why would you sign up for that? Like, you have money and material things, but you can't even be comfortable. You're not even comfortable in your own skin. You're paranoid. You're frantic about being discovered. Like, I'm sorry, that's dumb. That's stupid. You sign up for a life you can't even enjoy? For material comforts that you can't even enjoy? You could be in a beautiful island and still be miserable. Who's signing up for that? That's hell on earth. You can't run from yourself. You can't run from your conscience. That's always with you. The things that live in your brain, the deeds that you know that you do, that's always with you. You can't run from that. And you're popping your pills and you're trying to escape from that. But the fact is, you do bad shit. So you have bad karma. It's just that simple. That's hell on earth to us. And to us, as believers, it's simply not worth it. There's nothing that supersedes our peace of mind, us being able to live with ourselves. Nobody wants hell on earth. Not when this world is so beautiful. No way. And I'm like, look, I didn't do the deeds that you did to get your karma. I'm not sharing your misery with you. I don't do the things that you do to feel the way that you feel. That's why I feel good and you don't. I didn't sell my soul. I can talk freely. I can speak freely. I feel good about myself. I can look myself in the mirror with a clear conscience and know that I'm not harming anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. That I'm a helper in humanity. It feels good. Doing good feels good. You earn your misery. You didn't earn anything else. You didn't earn the money that you have, but you definitely earned the misery that you have. And I'm not here to share it with you because I don't do the things that you do. So this is what the Quran refers to as hell on earth and hell in the afterlife. Another distinction is that rather than hell being described as a lake of fire, hell is described as 7 layers in Islam. The belief is that there are different sections for different transgressions. The worst sins in Allah's eyes get the most severe punishment in hell. It is believed that you will enter hell with your skin and the fire of hell will blaze your skin off. You will have boils all over your skin from the fire burning all of your skin off, and you will regenerate new skin, and then the fire will burn your skin off again, and that's your life in hell. And to quench your thirst, you'll be given boiling water. Imagine you're already burning in hell, and then you're drinking boiling water. And to quench your hunger, you will be fed sewage. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for some temporary luxury, material things on earth? Is that something to celebrate, devil worship, when that's the fate that he has for you? And that's another reason why I feel like spiritual people are the most intellectuals, because if you truly have high self-esteem, you're gonna rock with the beings that want your best, that have your best interests at heart. Like if you have a friend that's setting you up, right? You have a friend that their only reason for being around you is they want to listen to your conversations because they want to set you up. Why would you rock with that friend? That's not a friend at all. That's an enemy. And you're pledging loyalty to your enemy. And the devil's not going to rock with you regardless if you follow him or not. He's just using you. You're in bondage. He's loyal to no one. And that's who you pledge your loyalty to? to a being that has nothing but the worst intention for you, that gives you misery on this earth and misery in the afterlife? I don't know, that just seems ignorant to me. Like, why would that be who you would pledge your loyalty to? And you think just because you may get some powers, because don't get me wrong, I'm aware that the shaitan does provide people who follow him, who pledge their allegiance to him, powers. But in the end, you still get got. Big time. Big time. So you were willing to take some temporary comforts, temporary amenities, a little bit of cash, some power, popularity, and the trade-off being that you still get got, like really, 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 really bad. And because he's so sinister, how he has his fun is he fucks with the people that worship him too. Don't think that he's just messing with the people that don't rock with him. He's messing with the people that worship him. Because it's fun to him. That's how he has his fun. So you think that, hey, like how can you trust and untrust? Like, how can you trust somebody when their main attribute is deceit? You've pledged your allegiance to a being whose main attribute is deceit. So when you get got and you're like, I'm so screwed. My life is ruined. My life is over. Who are you going to be mad at? Your dumbass pledged allegiance to an entity whose main characteristic is deceit. And then you get mad that you got lied to, bamboozled, tricked, and that your life sucks and you're miserable and now you're an addict. And you have money all around you and material things all around you, but all you want to do is kill yourself. Why? And then can you open your mouth and call anybody dumb after that? Who are you calling dumb? That's what I want to know. Who are you calling stupid? Who are you calling dumb? The Quran describes the putrid stench of burning flesh in hell as unbearable. Have you ever smelt a dead animal, let alone a dead body that's been rotting and festering? Ugh! That's what hell smells like. Our United States Constitution is rooted in the Bible. From what I know, the 10 Commandments are also pretty much against the law. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. You steal, you kill. You know, I mean, if you're poor, of course, that's against the law. But we are proposedly a nation governed by the laws of fundamental Christianity. In the court of law, defendants, attorneys, plaintiffs, and the active judge, they all swear on the Bible. In theory, America is not godless. Our government has essentially tried to replicate judgment of karma using the Bible as its blueprint. In court, the judge plays the role of God, deciding one's fate. Like in monotheism, each crime has a specific delegation of punishment. Just like Christianity or Islam, there are some criminals that are considered worse than others. Like on the day of judgment, the accused are given the right to explain and defend themselves. It's believed that each individual has a guardian angel that is assigned to them upon conception in monotheism. There's an additional angel who is solely responsible for recording your every action, every single action, like a scribe, every single word that you say, everything that you do, behind closed doors, in secrecy, overtly, covertly, every single deed. There's an angel right next to you recording everything that you do. That's the reason I say there's no such thing as secrecy. There's no such thing as being clandestine. Don't you know that there's spiritual forces at play? Everywhere. Everywhere. Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, our creator everywhere. You can't hide anything. You can't whisper. They already know. They know what you do before you even do it. And so it's told on the day of judgment that your book of records will be presented and each deed recorded in absolute detail. There's not a detail that is left out in that book. And this will begin the process of the determination of your final destination. In court, attorneys would kind of be like angels. They gather all the evidence and the proof required to present to the judge. Now, on earth, we have decided to create man's version of hell, which is jail. Jail is where the sinners go for their transgressions. Jail is our version of delegating punishment for karmic deeds. Unlike our criminal justice system, the Almighty's criminal justice system is unflawed. Like I said, the Almighty cannot be bought. The Almighty's not in a boys' club. The Almighty's not a racist. The Almighty's not a sexist. The Almighty doesn't criminalize poor people. The Almighty doesn't set poor people up. The Almighty doesn't hate poor people. Currently, 1 out of every 10 inmates on death row has been falsely accused. That means that 10% of death row inmates will be killed for crimes that they did not commit. We have heard countless tragic stories about people being freed after decades of spending time in jail where they've committed no crime at all. We witness constantly corruption of the elites. And again, I reiterate the point, it's just so crazy to me that you could have people that are being paid 6 figures to watch poor people when that money could be given to the poor people. Like that's so crazy that that's our system. You got people being paid to put on frivolous surveillances. And that's our system. That's the system that we have. People trying to play God and doing a piss poor job at it. A piss poor job at it. We witness constantly the corruption of elites. It appears as if they can literally get away with murder. They operate the most horrific crimes imaginable. And we have a criminal justice system that has failed us in every way, where one's only crime can be poverty. One's sole crime, only crime can just be being poor. Just be being poor. You can be as guilty as everything, but you have the money to pay for the best top-notch lawyer. Whereas a poor person has to get a public defender. You're paying the judge. You're paying the lawyers. You know this person. You know that person. Corrupt, foul, disgusting, filthy hands, morally empty. And we have a criminal justice system that supports that type of behavior, that supports this type of stuff. Where someone may go to jail just because they're poor. Literally. And we got people who really believe that they're above the law due to their wealth. Corrupt judges, corrupt attorneys, corrupt law enforcement that can be bought. Unlike man's failed attempt to replicate God's kingdom in divine justice, the almighty criminal justice system, the Almighty's criminal justice system does not fail us. Monitoring angels do not omit evidence in God's court. And the Almighty cannot be bought.